What is going on? Welcome to this very first Hobby of Ours live. And, a good bit of fun, hoping to, I need to change something already. So funny. All right, let's mute that there, shall we? All right, gonna have Ricardo on in just a hot minute. I wanted to get a live episode in before the year ends, and this is that. We're gonna do a countdown, a showdown of the top 10 best and top 10 worst watches of the year. And let's just get Ricardo on. Ricardo, welcome to the program, sir.
Hi, Dee. Hi, everybody.
I don't think anyone's joining. I didn't promote it, but down the road, greetings to everyone. Greetings and salutations. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, etc. Excuse me. So I started the show at the outro, and I just started explaining what we're doing. Was why not bring my buddy on? And so we're doing the top 10 best and worst, but we kind of chopped it up a little bit, where 5 best from you, 5 best for me, 5 worst from you, 5 worst from me, yada, yada, yada. But we are going to introduce something I hope will be hilariously controversial, which is the veto. Each of us gets one veto, which basically is a way of telling the other person that has lost their marbles. They got something running around in their coconut, and they are just out and out wrong. But we only get one veto for the entire episode. So use your veto in the video very carefully, sir. And love the background you've got going. I didn't even know you had a baby grand piano.
Yeah, look at my immense house here and fireplace and all that.
It's so funny, so funny. So what are you wearing, my good man?
Oh, well, I have been really enjoying my 1977 Rolex 1603 of late.
Hold that up. We should get you featured, sir.
It's dressy. It runs like a top. I just had it on the time grapher. It says it's gaining a little bit, few seconds a day, but it's not off by much for a 50-year-old watch. And
that is your Harrison Ford watch. Oh, we got my buddy Trap in the live stream. I got to say hi to him. Trap, I'm trapped in a vision, but thankfully it's in 3D. What up, my man? I wasn't expecting anyone to join, buddy. This is my first live, so jump into it or chime in. I will keep my eye on the comments for you, big man. Always great.
Can you bring in other people into the stream?
I can, and that is going to be a thing once upon a time. But because this presentation is so structured, we're going to run through the presentation, and then as I get more accustomed to the live interface, we'll goof off and have some fun with that. But Ricardo, I forgot to mention my wrist check is the Rolex GMT that I was very grateful to get from Louis Anthony Jewelers. Shout out to Andrea and Jeremy from there. Much love.
Congratulations on getting that. How many, if you don't mind me asking, how many Rolexes have you actually gotten from an AD
now? This would be the second one. I've got the Explorer, also from Andrea at Louis Anthony Jewelers. So they're about a year apart from them. So, I guess the Daytona is next. I guess the Daytona next year. Actually, what I really want is the Yachtmaster in titanium, or I should say unobtainium, because you know me, I love titanium watches. But is there anything on your radar? You looking to pick up anything before the year end? Or?
No, I'm still visiting my AD very occasionally to ask about a Batgirl, but hasn't happened yet.
But you've got a nice watch sitting in its stead that we're going to cover at some point in the new year.
Yes, coming up soon. That's right. And I've been wearing it a great deal. So
outstanding. We'll keep that as a secret. So did you get all of your Christmas shopping done?
Well, I'm still working on some of it, but the main item that I have here is, of course, the 1001 watch designs by none other than Hobby of Ours. It's on
and you know what? Funny enough, I got mine as well, and I have quite a few left in case anyone out there needs one.
I fall asleep looking at it every night, so it's
That's a little too far in the other direction, I think. Maybe or it puts you to sleep every night. Could be either one. Okay, so we've paid some bills. We also have Hobby of Hours t-shirts. Go to hobbyofhours.com for all of your merch. But today's video, I put Ricardo on the spot, asked him for his top 5 baddies, top 5 awesome ones, and I combined them into this wonderful PowerPoint deck that we're going to cut to it. So let me add it to the stream. Hobby of Hours Live. You know what? I've been sitting on this logo panel for like 2.5 years. I didn't know at the beginning of launching the channel that you had to have X amount of subscribers, X amount of views before you could go live. Boy, was I disappointed the first day I tried, but here we go. Here we have it. All right, we are starting off with the baddies first, and we shall let the guest pick. It'll go guest pick, my pick, guest pick, my pick as we go. First up, Ricardo, speak to it, my man. Hublot.
Number 5 on my list is the Hublot MP11 Water Blue Sapphire. I mean, I could see this as a $100 swatch maybe, but not necessarily as a $171,000 Hublot.
Wow.
Okay, the 14-day power reserve is interesting, but really, I mean, to spend $171,000. Imagine if you had $171,000 to spend on a watch. Is it going to be an RM or is it going to be, some really rare Rolex? No, I want the Hublot MP11 water blue. Hard to make a case for that one.
That is tough. But I have to say, it's not the ugliest watch I've ever seen. I think that, okay, Tiffany Blue, they're a little bit late to the party, but any watch takes 1 to 5 years to make, execute. And there's certainly no strangers to sapphire case watchmaking. It is not the worst I've ever seen. I think that having the power reserve on there is great, but having the wording day power reserve takes away from what could otherwise be a beautiful shot of the movement. Yeah, and that unusual knurling on the crown. I don't know. The irony is this is not inexpensive to make, manufacturer in sapphire, which I believe is what that case is made of, but it certainly doesn't cost anywhere near that amount to produce. Okay. I shall not veto. This one shall pass. All right. My first pick, and this is leading up to the absolute worst. So we start with the least of the worst, moving on down. Mine, Tudor. Love me some Tudor, but this ugly Pepto-Bismol chronograph pandering to Beckham fans and acolytes, no, just no. I think that you can make an attractive pink watch, usually when it leans a little more towards salmon than Pepto-Bismol pink. And I'm really disappointed that Pepto-Bismol as a company didn't, co-op this in some way to offset cost. But no, just because Beckham touches something doesn't mean it's magnificent, wonderful, or worth 3x on the gray market. When this hit the newsstands, 3x. Now it's down to about 2x, 2.5x. I think it's boutique only. What are your thoughts, my good man?
If I wanted a moon swatch, I'd get a moon swatch.
A note to anyone watching, he doesn't know my picks, so he pulled that out of the air. I have to give you like a little tennis clap for that. Well done. Yeah, ugly, great watch, ugly colorway, and yes, a colorway will get you slapped. Moving on to the next one.
This is mine. This is the Grand Seiko collab with Watches of Switzerland. I like a lot of what Grand Seiko is doing, and this isn't one of them. They really go to town on their dials. They have dials that are accented with nature and weather in Japan at the factory and that sort of thing, and misty stuff. This is I don't know what this is trying to be. The colors are garish. There's a spirograph pattern in it. They're not spring drive.
They're not?
No,
Ooh,
no,
they're not. Oh, yikes.
and no power reserve indicator. I don't know. I don't know what they were trying to do with this, or why they invested time and money in doing a Watches of Switzerland collab.
Lucy, you got some explaining to do. I don't see anything wrong with these. I'm not motivated to execute my veto, but I don't see this as drifting too far afield of anything they do. They've got some of the best dial work going, but spirograph, you know what? Someone with a guilloche machine or whatever spent hours doing that only to have you denigrate them with the spirograph comment. But I see where you mean. Oh, minor note, in the lower left corner is Ricardo's logo from Kepler's Laws. Check that out. There is a link to it on the website, and he writes watch articles from time to time, and they're fairly awesome.
And I just published one today, as a matter of fact.
Oh, you did? Okay, I didn't get the email hot link.
It was a little bit of news about a certain timepiece gentleman.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah.
But you didn't write it. I only publish the ones you write. But yeah,
right. No, it was an update about the case, direct from the horse's mouth. I could have taken the info and written an article on it.
You know what? Because you're my bro. Go ahead and take 10 seconds because I know you're dying to talk about it. 10 seconds.
With the timepiece gentleman saga is wrapping up. He's been in custody. He's been a guest of Uncle Sam for the last year for wire fraud and mail fraud, and now he's accepted responsibility for it.
Yeah, I did see that. And you know what? To be fair, I did give Ricardo permission to talk about it when it was newsworthy, so I shouldn't be so hard on him. I do want to say shout out to Trap Vision 3D in the comments. We met him. You will remember him because you were there at Moyer the first time I met him, and he has an excellent comment. In fact, let me pin the comment.
Oh, can you do that?
He's talking about the Tudor. Yeah. He's absolutely right. In fact, if this watch had been in promotion or in some way connected to donations to cancer survivor or breast cancer survivorship, it would not be on this list. You know, isn't that strange? Even though the color is somewhat uglyable, if it was in the benefit of that, because I've lost family members to cancer, not the specific breast cancer, but the breast cancer awareness program, and wearing pink, especially across sports franchises, is a thing. Trap, you nailed it, big man. You nailed it. All right, moving on. I don't agree with you wholeheartedly on this, brother, but I'll give it to you. Zenith Defy. Now, I love Zenith, but big old butt, boom, boom, boom. I don't like this model. This should have stayed lost to antiquity, lost in the 70s. Nobody asked for this watch to come back. And it is hard to have a brand in one of these episodes. I generally don't bash watches because it takes so much time to do anything in business. But dang, Zenith, your efforts could have been spent better elsewhere. And I absolutely am okay with a brand mining its history to pull back something into the modern era. But no, I don't like it. And boy, they were hitting the press hard with this one. And there's other examples of the Defy that I'm a little okay with, but not this one. Certainly not in Hugger Orange. Thoughts, musings?
You've got the Crown at 430. Okay, I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because it's so large. I don't remember exactly what the measurement is, but it's a large watch. And the date window is at 432, which is also never seen it before. Also, the minute hand has a big arrow on it that you would typically see on a GMT hand. So at first it was confusing.
Well, I think in the context of a dive watch, minutes are more important than hours, so I could forgive that. But I actually got to hold this watch. Moore and Fine Jewelers, a friend of the channel. Shout out Derek. Shout out the team. But when I was out there, the trip you couldn't make, and actually I did get to see Trap again on that trip. He probably got hands-on with this as well as I did. It's large. It's just not for me. And I think I'm more off-put that so many other YouTube folks liked it and were promoting it this year, but they weren't buying it. It's one thing if you like and promote an odd duck and you buy it, but why are you promoting it if you're not putting your money where your mouth is. Oh,
Well, it's aptly named anyway, the Defy.
God, I'm so surprised anyone is in for the live stream. It's so funny. What up, Lone Ranger?
Hi, Lone Ranger.
All right, next up, sir.
The Bremont Bamford. It's very large. It's got an off-centered crown, similar to the other ones that are on our naughty list. It's got a weird mixture of Roman numerals and what it was, Arabic numerals. I want to say English, but
California dial. To be fair,
it's got a weird mixture of numerals that are not the same. To me, it looks like mint chocolate chip ice cream, sort of. It's reminiscent of that. It just didn't grab me.
What up, Lone Wolf and Quaid? One of my buddies from the IG space. We talk watches constantly. Good to have you here, buddy. This is kind of off the cuff. I wasn't planning on doing this, dude. It just kind of, I wanted to test the system more than anything. But I am officially using my veto. Okay. While I'm not willing to put my, was it 10 to 15 grand out for it, because Bremont is not there in my affection, on my affection list, but Bamford is. I follow George Bamford. He's on the About Effing Time trio, those guys with Adrian Barker and Anthony McCutcheon. Really enjoy that stuff, but I enjoy him as an inventor, a creator, a watchmaker, and it's hard for me, I guess it's subjective, a bit hypocritical. It's hard for me to bash someone who I would otherwise enjoy. Just like what we'll be getting to later is some people behind a brand are going to make you not like it. Him being behind this brand makes me like it. Moreover, channel colors and that mix of Arabics and Romans is a California dial, which I love. I don't love it in a dive watch, but I generally have affection for it. And if I'm being honest, dang, black and green. I need to change that Wiz Khalifa song, Black and Yellow, to Black and Green. I'm okay with it. So I have expended my veto.
Okay. The Hobby of Hours color scheme, I see your point.
Yeah, which makes no sense. There's no logic. And, that is the reality of watch buying. Sometimes there is no logic. The reality is I might regret not saving my veto. I don't. I gotta add Trap's comment.
Oh, well, I got a good one coming up for you.
Xbox. You know what? You might be right, Trap. Bamford may have grabbed the background from the Xbox ad and just plopped their watch onto it.
Did they? Goodness.
I don't know. We'll see. All right, next up. Oh, next one is mine. I was talking so much about yours, I forgot that it was mine up next. This is the Audemars Piguet doorstop watch. I mean the remaster watch. And thankfully, I was able to find the OG version and the new one in the same photo. Grab that from the internets. And yikes. No.
How old is the OG one?
It's got to be 70s with that design language. And I probably should give someone in the engineering team credit for making the sapphire step, because that is a stepped sapphire. And I imagine there was probably no distortion at the line, that vertical line. That was probably the hardest thing of making this watch, was making the sapphire. I just don't, nobody asked for this. There is a lookalike of this that I should have grabbed, but the lookalike version is from an independent and a micro, and it has its crown on the left side. For me, being that this case slopes downwards left to right, and that crown is just kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. Although it doesn't impede, it doesn't come up against versus the height of it, as I understand, but I'm talking too long. It's your turn to chat. Go ahead.
Yeah. Watch 4. I don't understand, who would want, who's going to want to wear this? Maybe art people that go to the Met or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good call. I wonder what the vintage ones are going for. Yikes. Oh, okay,
I
we got
wonder
a
how they made a
brainstorm.
decision to go with this. Yeah.
What up, Skylar? Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I don't know who it's for either. All right, next battle up.
Credo. I think we
So
sort of
funny. Go ahead, buddy. Lay it down.
we had a meeting of the minds on this one, kind of. We both I think mentioned this one.
Well, actually, we didn't, but I forgot is the reason.
Okay.
And you're so right. Please, by all means, lay it down.
The hexagonal thing. Remind me who the designer of this one was.
I think it's Genta.
Genta.
I think
exactly,
I saw something
right.
the other day. I was watching. I can't remember what channel I was watching, but I'm fairly certain they said this was a Genta, or rather the original one's not this one because he's passed. And this Creedor is the high end of Seiko. Wasn't always that way. Creedor used to make watches in the entire price band, like $300 quartzes and up, but now it's like the top shelf. I'm fairly certain Genta's connected to this in some way.
I think it's Genta's. I think it's Genta's design. Actually, you're right. But the bracelet doesn't seem to match. It's like, here's a bracelet from one watch, put it on this other one, and the hexagonal shape calls attention to the case in a way it makes you think about it in a sort of like less than flattering way, I think. So
yeah, hexagonal. I don't know why you keep bashing the moon watch like it's a bad thing. But yeah, the bracelet doesn't match, and it's just not okay. It's like, the Royal Oak is 8-sided, and Seiko's like, we can only afford 6 sides. Okay, I'll make you the 6-sided one, and here we go. Let alone the Chopard like butt dial. Yeah, sorry, this dial is horrible, and I commend you, my good man. It is
not my cup of tea.
Yeah, awful. Next up is, gosh, I just tried this watch on 3 days ago. This is Cartier, the dual time Cartier, baby. And I love the idea. I love the design principle, which is having a second time zone in what would normally be a small seconds section of the watch. And I love the Santos, speaking generally. It is a touch too large, but that's not the reason it made the list. It is a $9,100 watch plus tax where applicable, which is everywhere, for a well-made watch with a Solita movement, which Solita movements are fabulous. But in a $10,000 Cartier watch, and I want to give a shout out to Talking Timepieces with Tony, another wonderful channel. And he was the one who broke that news and basically saved me from spending my money, because this was on my punch list when it first came out at Watches and Wonders. But also, it's so shiny. I was in the store trying it on. I couldn't read the thing, which, problematic. They should have gone with matte dial, but the challenge is Cartier doesn't have an in-house GMT movement, right? So they had to outsource, and I don't know if the thing's decorated or not. It doesn't have a display case back, so it doesn't matter. But no, Cartier, no, I'm not paying 10 grand for that. What they should do is they should offer it at the same price point as the other models in the lineup. So don't charge a premium for the additional complication. It should be the same cost as the other ones. And then that way you're not taking advantage of your customer base, charging an uptick for something that doesn't warrant it.
I see. I was almost going to veto this one, but now that I've taken a good look at it, I think you're onto something.
It looks beautiful in the pictures.
If you like Cartier, then go with Cartier. But this looks like they've given it the Terminator 2 treatment and made it like
Dude, you're so right.
like the Super Terminator that's bigger and meaner and stuff. And
the T2000.
Yeah,
that's really funny, dude. Yeah, this is in 4 to 5 years, pennies on the dollar for this. I think this will eventually end up being 5,700 on the secondary market. I mean, like years from now. And I may return to it at that point, or probably not, to be fair, because
it doesn't really grab you anyway. I
can't read it. I didn't, now granted, I didn't have my glasses on, and watches a switch that was probably too bright with the lights, but no, I'm not paying a premium for that movement. Not happening. And I love Salida. Salida makes fabulous movements. And tying for first place on the baddie list is, of course, the Patek Philippe Pubitus. And I'm going to let you speak to it first. It was kind of funny. We both landed on it. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but go ahead and speak to it first, brother.
Well, first, your watch knowledge is more encyclopedic than mine, so I'm just going to ask you: did Patek kill the blue dial stainless steel sports watch Nautilus that they've traditionally made for many years? Has that been discontinued? I thought that was discontinued.
They adiosed that 1 year ago.
How do you discontinue that and do this with in the same breath? I mean, it's I like Patek. If I could afford a Patek, I'd probably have one. I certainly wouldn't have this one. I mean, it's too reminiscent of the Cartier, which you've put up there. So
yeah. I want to hear all of your observations, because I don't want to hog the stream.
It's a tank ripoff, and it dilutes the brand, because we know what the Patek brand is. It's the Nautilus. And why would you do this to a brand that you've spent so much time and so many years defining?
That is interesting, because like, why would Rolex stop making the Submariner, right? They wouldn't.
Yeah.
And then to come back out with this thing, which the proportions are not wonderful. Don't forget, this is a $45,000 retail sports watch. I think what people forget who are in the monetary space to buy these kinds of watches, what the original mission statement was. The original mission statement was, let's make a luxury watch in steel. Like back in the early 70s, late 60s, the idea was, let's make a luxury watch in steel. Now, back then, the marketing machine wasn't as well versed as now. What they were basically saying is, let's charge people a premium for steel. That's what that converts to. That sort of that mode of thinking, right? So they want to charge you more for steel. That is behind the Royal Oak, the Vacheron 222, which I adore. But yeah, no, the Pubitus is a thumbs down. I don't care how many shots of Marky Wahlberg wearing it show up on the internet, but it's not why it made the list for me. The reason it's on my list is, I purposely included the green Cartier off to the right, so that, I don't understand the objections people have to the design language, in as much as it is so similar to the Cartier as to be not that big of a deal relatively to what it is replacing, right? The other model they used to have. But if you turn it on its side and move the crown, you've basically got the Cartier Santos, but not why it's on the list. The reason it's on the list is because of what Terry Stern said to the people who didn't like his baby. It was more or less something to the effect of, oh, the people who don't like this watch can't afford it, never will afford it. And yes, those are a great many number of the voices, but the reality is, sir, you don't get to espouse watch snobbery and get away with it. Very few people, actually, the only people who like watch snobbery are watch snobs, right? Not us. Thoughts?
The Patek that I would like and can't afford is the Nautilus, not this one. So I mean, and it's not that I'm sour grapesing anything, and that's what he's implying with that statement, apparently.
Yeah, no, he anyone, I heard it said, I think it was on TGV's stream with Mark, maybe, but they were talking about how that is most likely going to alienate people, and anyone who was maybe saving up for a Patek one day, that's not your traditional Patek customer. It's Patek customers, yacht dudes, right? Ferrari guys. But if there was someone who wanted to do a stretch and was saving and coming along the hobby and wanted to stretch for it, you just slapped them in the face, said, you know what, you don't deserve it. So that is why it made my that's why it made my list is no, Mr. Stern, I don't care how important you are in the watch business. You don't get to treat us that way. And you know what? We're going to execute our judgment with our money. We're going to go elsewhere. Yeah. Not that let's be honest. Let's be fair. I was not in the market for Patek at any level. I just don't roll that heavy. Maybe one day, but I'll go to Vacheron. I think Vacheron, I mean, AP is a one-trick pony, but I might go over to Vacheron. So anyways, those are the baddies, the top 10 baddies of 2024. You ready to move on to something a little bit lighter fare?
Yeah, I mean, I love watches, and it was a little odd and jarring to only concentrate on the baddies up to now, because you know there are all the watches I like. So yeah, let's start with.
Let's get it positive. I don't spend a lot of time bashing on my channel, as I mentioned. It takes a lot of money and work to make anything. So let's get on to something a little more positive. Some things that we liked in 2024.
There you go. This is the Piaget Polo 79.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently it's a reissue of the one that they did in 1979, 45 years later.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. I don't have the number in front of me, but
I think it's in the 40 range. It's somewhere between 25 and 40.
It's a bit Gordon Gekko. It's the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Remember that watch with
I don't.
Steve Martin was wearing? I think was that a Piaget?
Yeah. Wow. Maybe someone in the comments can let us know. To be fair, I haven't seen that movie all the way through. I'm definitely due for a watch of it. A watch of it. I did mean that. A watching of the film is what I meant to say.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, so it's got that same thing. I've not owned one of these or one like it yet, but I thought it was a cool new introduction for 2024.
I love that they did it. I don't like the watch personally, but I'm really glad they did it, and I think there is a market for it. This was entered into the GPHG iconic section, and I did get to see it in person in New York when I won that trip. It's a big boy. I think it's like $39.40. Oh, we got Lone Wolf chiming in. One of the best watch spotters in films I've ever met. He's got, dude, you got an eagle eye for watches in film. So thanks for being in the chat and chiming in, dude. I guess, okay, Trap saw a clip of that being constructed. Yeah, I can't imagine how they did it, but what a wacky reintro. I've seen some vintage pieces. I've held them. When I was at Watches of Switzerland in Soho, where they had all 90 entries for GPHG, they were like bolted into the table and there were guards everywhere. So I couldn't try it on, but I put my wrist up next to it. Biggin. Boy, was it a biggin. And there's a market for it. And they're trying to get some of that Terry Stirred money, I guess. Crazy.
I just looked it up. Yeah, it's a Piaget Polo, the Steve Martin one.
Yeah. Lone Wolf confirmed for us. Trap chiming in on the previous one, Patek wise. Let's see. Oh, yep. Yeah, spot on, Trap. Some people aspire to own the brand. Look, if I was saving for Patek and I'd caught word that he'd said that, I'd be second guessing it. All right. A personal favorite of mine is the Hobby of Hours parody mod, which is basically a Seiko mod that I did not knowing when this would come in. But parody mods, I found him on Facebook. Basically, he can make anything. His main the watch he makes is what he calls the relax watch, and instead of Rolex on the dial, it says relax. And it is something we'll probably tackle in our homage video, because it's basically a Seiko mod. It's not pretending to be a Rolex. It's got my channel name on the dial, and it's got some special lettering at the bottom. GMT, ba-bam, super duper chronometer, officially Batical, and it wears fairly similar to this. And even though I have this one now, like, this is going to be my alternate, like if I'm going out to the pub or if I'm on the golf course. I can't bring myself to wear this on the golf course, but I can bring this, and it's got the 24-hour bezel, and I need that as my score counter when I'm in the fairway. because I'm as good at golf now as I was when I was 14, which is to say awful. But if you want to veto it, I won't be offended.
No,
it's kind of a
honestly,
lark.
D, I think this is this is a charming. It's amazing that you actually could get it done, and it's charming that you wanted to, and that you did that to tide yourself over until you got the real one from the AD, which you ultimately did. So I mean,
Yeah.
no, I'm gonna give this the opposite of the veto. I'm gonna give this a thumbs up.
Mm-hmm. And like it's like $350. And it's got the Seiko GMT movement, which I think is either NH34 or NH35. Lone Wolf, correct me in the comments. But it's keeping amazing time.
And you did this by rotating the movement around 90 degrees, right?
I didn't do anything. He did it, and I don't know how he got the part for the watch wheel. I'm sorry, the date wheel, because it's completely oriented. Normally, it's not like turning something upside down like I did with the Tudor FXD, which is around here somewhere.
It's a replaced date wheel that's oriented correctly then.
Yeah, so my Tudor FXD left-hand drive, there is no date. So this is purely just something where my watchmaker rotated it around. And funny enough, there are some other people who've done this mod and are taking credit for it on Instagram. Heartbreaking.
Wow.
Absolutely heartbreaking. I can't even, I don't even have words. A subject for another day. But nope. Yeah.
I concur on your doing this, and I think it's great.
Yeah, good bit of fun. All right. Lucy, you got some explaining to do on this one. Kick it.
Okay. The AP Royal Oak self-winding 37 millimeter in pink gold with diamonds and sapphires. It's Christmas. The Christmas lights are on. It's dark out. There's twinkling lights everywhere, and you need a little bling to catch some of the light and retail it again. And I thought this was.
You need a little bling to let the burglars and robbers know where you are and take it off of your wrist in the dark. Are you looking at Christmas alleys? Where are you at?
Let's assume we're at someone's home with a holiday party, so you don't have to wait.
I want to say shout out real quick to Noctua Watch Corp. I was watching a TGV stream about 2 weeks ago, and he popped up in the comments. I was like, oh, that's a cool name. I went to check out his website. Some really cool watches. He and I are going to hopefully connect in the new year, and I'll get to borrow one for review. But he's in Canada, and his the language of the piece that I saw was very much like Zinn, German Flieger / diver / GMT. It looks so freaking cool. And as much as I love Zinn, his are positioned more approachable in the market. So looking forward to checking out your watches, brother. But yeah, okay.
I'm not sure where in Canada, but I've been to Canada more than 100 times. I love it there. And
yeah, they make some nice people up there. Must be something in the water. We could probably import some of that water. But I don't regret using my veto earlier, but you do like a bit of bling. I didn't know you were into ice, but I know you like gold watches, generally speaking.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was looking for introductions, ones that were introduced this year, and I didn't realize that AP was putting out so much icy stuff, and I thought this one looked good. Edmonton, yes. Hello. Each
to his fate. There are some ice pieces I would rock. It's just once you get into factory jewel set pieces, some rarefied air, man. If I'm going that heavy, if I hit the lottery, right, is that the piece I would splurge on? I don't think so. But each to his fate, my brother. If you love it, I'm glad you love it. Controversial watch, like. Especially since I bashed it in my Halloween horrors episode. This is the Hodinkee version of the Porsche Design Titanium re-edition that Porsche Design themselves did. Porsche Design is the Porsche Design watch. Chronograph 1 is, of course, a channel darling. Love it to pieces. Easily my favorite chronograph, and I've certainly covered it ad nauseum. And when Porsche Design brought it back in titanium in the last 2 years or so, not happy with it in as much as, first of all, love the titanium, love the display case back. Price point sucks. 9 G's for a titanium watch and basically a Valjoux based modified movement? No. Just no generally, but no specifically. Porsche design. I love your watches, love your work. I want you to claim your spot in the market. But 9 grand? No, you don't get to charge that. 6,500, somewhere in there, because you can get a pristine OG model for 3,500, 4 grand, sometimes less if you work at it. No one's going to do that. So I'm very upset with Porsche's design with their price point. And of course, Hodinkee loves to put their DNA into things. But the reason I've included it here in the positives, I've had a little bit of a change of heart. I want to give Hodinkee props for not putting too much of their DNA in it. And I was about to put my finger to the monitor to show you what I mean. So stupid. They've got a little H in the subdial. It's 6 o'clock in red, which is so modest. I want to commend them for being modest. And one of the major reasons I bashed it is that it's got a day wheel in English and kanji, Japanese kanji. And they mentioned in their in the advertising promotion of it that they wanted to give a shout out to their Japanese customer base. No, you wanted to sell 100 watches to customers in Japan. And I don't think that's okay. If anything, it should have been German plus English because the original one was in German. But there was such a robust racing community in Japan generally that if I was in Japan, I think it would be awesome. I don't know how many Porsche drivers over there is, but that kind of doesn't matter. So I'm giving them an attaboy. Nice job. Up to you, brother.
Okay, I'm gonna. If we're gonna do vetoes, I'll veto this one because of the critiques that you've already surfaced. Why are we doing a Japanese watch? Why is Hodinkee?
You got to do the veto sign.
Veto. Okay, I'll veto sign. What's the matter with Tom Cruise's version? What's the matter with the regular Porsche design version? Those are the Porsche design watch. This is unnecessary. I don't know why they got into this. And yeah, $9,600. I would probably go out and get it.
Minor caveat: this is the Top Gun variant. In as much as it's the 1 mile, it's got the PD logo above day date. It does have an English day alternating with kanji. I don't know if I expressed that correctly, but it's alternating kanji or US. But it's basically the Top Gun watch in titanium with a little red H on it with an additional kanji to it. So it's not too far afield, but everything else you said is...
With an unlimited budget, there are a lot of watches I would buy. This probably just wouldn't be on the list, although a Porsche design one might be on the list, not this particular one.
Yeah. I don't know how many are in. This was a limited release. It's either 300 or fewer, but yeah, I don't know. In truth, I could make a case either way for it, but I felt a little too impolite to it during the Halloween Horrors episode. And I'm impressed Hodinkee showed some restraint, right? As they're getting out of the watch sales business. I want to send them off with a smile. Now, what do we got here from Trap? What is this here? Oh, right on. Trap, you mean the actual one they used in the movie? Let me know. Let me know if that's what you mean. And I'll pop your comment up, buddy. All right. Tortuga.
Yes, the Cartier Tortue. It's a departure from the tank. It's got it's elongated. If you've been out with some friends and everybody's had a few and you show them the watch, they're going to do a double take on it and make sure that they're seeing straight. It grabbed me. I just liked it. I enjoy all the variants of it, but I like the shape of the case. And if I were thinking about a Cartier, I think I would, before I even went with the Santos, I would probably take a look at this one first.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an impressive statement because you are a man of class, man of great taste. This is such an unusual, it's an odd duck even for Cartier. with that tortoise shape. The mono pusher technology, and we've got some time only pieces. I grabbed the photo they had of all of them, but this mono pusher technology is really quite extraordinary. I want to say they are the ones who patented it back in the day. I'm not certain if they did invent the mono pusher technology that is behind the movement, but they released, this is not the first time it's come around. I think the Cartier CPCP, which stands for Cartier Paris. It was a very high-end sub-line of Cartier watches 15, 20 years ago. There was a monopoussier that showed up there. Curie Privé. Talk about it a little while I look this up.
Oh, I don't know. All I'm saying is that if I were going to get a Cartier, if it was on my list and I had the budget to do it, rather than get the Santos that everybody has, I would want something out of the ordinary. Not necessarily the ones with the extra wheels on them, but just the simpler one that's just the hours. I like the shape of it, and I like the fact that people would do a little bit of a double take because it says Cartier, but it's not square. So
it's Collection Privé Cartier Paris is the name of the CPCP line. Did I understand you correctly where you said you would get the time only and not the chronograph?
Right.
Oh, interesting, bro.
Well, if I'm going to do chronographs, then there are other chronographs that are higher on my list. Ones that are.
Well, that's to your benefit because it'll certainly be more affordable. I think it's gold and white gold. I don't think it's platy on the left. I think that's white gold. But 25, 30, 35 G's, something like that for the chrono, I think. So time only would certainly do your pocketbook a bit of a benefit. And somewhat keeping in the Cartier family, I loved this release. This is the Cartier Rewind. Did you catch this one? Did we discuss this one?
We did, and there, I think you have a story behind it as well. But I concur with your admiration for this one.
This is okay. So I don't know if it's going back to Basel or if it's Watches and Wonders, but there's the novelties, and it is a name or a group of watches that a watchmaker releases that is novel, right? This watch runs backwards. It's called the Rewind. And they re-geared the movement. And if you notice on the dial, the Roman numerals are in counterclockwise order. And you have to read the watch. The watch goes backwards. And I don't know what it would be like to try and read the time on this thing. But I love this piece. Now, platinum. 40 grand, 40 large, 40 G's, rolling heavy, 200 pieces worldwide.
Yes.
Unobtainium, like I could walk into the store with, I don't think it's been released yet. I think it was supposed to come out in December. I don't know if it has hit stores yet, but talk about, as soon as it came out, kind of a bit for giggles, I went into my Cartier rep and wanted to express my interest. And she was so kind, such a lovely salesperson. And she was trying to do me a solid. She was like, well, D, for a platinum Cartier piece, there's a little bit more of a thing. I'm like, what's the thing? Well, you have to it's like filling out a job application or filling out paperwork for a house loan. And then it goes all the way off to Paris somewhere to be reviewed and approved. I'm like, wow, that sounds like a bit of a thing. Wow, what do you think my chances are? She's like, well, the last platinum piece I sold, which wasn't limited, captain of industry, he came in town on his private jet. Lamborghini car took him to the shop or some crazy madness. And I was like, oh, so you're telling me that I shouldn't bother? She's like, yeah, you could probably skip. You could probably skip it. She doesn't know I don't have a private jet. I don't have any spend history with her. I could have been balling. But the reality is, I would have taken money out of the 401k if I could get my hands on one at 40 G's. I'd wear it for a couple years, and then I'd flip it for 250 G's in 3 or 4 years, which is what these, actually, to be fair, this is probably going to end up being an 80 to 120k on the secondhand market eventually. I mean, as soon as it hits secondhand gray, it'll be more. It'll be closer to 175 too, but eventually it'll settle at 115 or somewhere between 85 and 1. And clearly I'm not like, okay, this is a lottery watch for me. Like, I'd have to win a lottery.
It would be worth, like you said, it would be worth getting, even if they would allow it now.
Yeah.
But they're holding out for, people of substance, celebrities, captains of industry, whatever. And if I might ask, suppose Matt Damon walked into a Cartier and he wanted to buy this watch and he was really hot for it, and they said yes, and they gave it to him, and he engraves his name on the back of it or something. and then, let's say a few years later, he puts it up for auction. Do you think it would carry more cachet and more price because it had belonged to him, or less?
We got a taste of that, and Trap is correct. The Stark Tower. She doesn't know the Hobby of Hours coffers are filled with Seikos and Tutimas and, way too many watches that I don't currently need. But yeah, no, that's an excellent point. We saw that with the Stallone auction, right?
Yeah. How did that go? Do you know?
I think it went well. I mean, it's that one Patek he had that was unopened, high complication, a grand complication piece. I think that sold north of $1 million or whatever. I think Patek was a little butthurt that he sold it, but look, when I buy your stuff, it's my stuff. I mean, unless it's 2 weeks later, and I'm, if I was to ventilate this GMT for a profit, that's a short end gain, right? I will have lost the relationship with my deal. Plus, I wanted to get this watch before it goes disco, and I wouldn't be able to afford it later, right? So I don't know if Matt Damon, it'd be weird if it was someone like some oddball celebrity, like, I don't know, Weird Al or Penny, like Laverne and Shirley, if they had an engraved watch. But, the way the celebrity game goes.
Well, Russell Crowe recently auctioned, like in the last couple of years, auctioned off a bunch of his watches. And yeah, I was really curious as to why, because
divorce. It was divorce related.
Was it?
Yeah.
You think? Okay.
Yeah, there was a blurb I caught somewhere. Like, it wasn't highly publicized, but I caught a blurb somewhere or another that divorce assets, right?
Yeah, to do some liquidating, huh?
Yeah, I can't verify that. I shouldn't. I'm not TMZ. I shouldn't speak to it, but I'm.
He explained that he would get a watch when he was doing a movie, so as to commemorate doing that movie, and then that seems like some pretty sentimental stuff to just be liquidated.
Well, not to these folks, right? I don't think people with massive amounts of money ascribe sentimentality to things they pick up along the way. I think maybe like things they had before they were famous. I'm speaking generally. I have no idea, but yeah, that is interesting.
You're onto something there. If you could just walk into the store and get any watch you want, and you were somebody that they would sell a watch to, that you could get any watch you want, then the watch itself, it loses some of its like specialness in a way.
Well, I think experientially, if you can have anything you want whenever you want it,
yes,
in the human experience, right?
It just turns into
King Solomon. King Solomon in the Bible, Ecclesiastes, had everything, right? Didn't mean anything. What did he say at the end? He was like, honor God, honor and serve God. That's what matters, right? So it is like stuff, and particularly money. It's all make believe. Can't take any of it with you. Mm-hmm. All right, next watch.
Good pick.
Ugh. Oh, okay. I want my veto back. Go ahead.
It's the James Cameron Rolex Deep Sea, but you're already at the bottom of the Marianas Trench. Where do you go from there?
Well, if you put this on the wrist, it will take you down there. You won't need a submarine. Just put it on your wrist and swim. You'll find the bottom.
Right. I don't know if they took one of these down. That would be interesting if they did. I know they took a regular deep sea down, but you got 3,900 meters of water resistance. That should cover you. And it's all gold. So You can go to a party in Beverly Hills and show it off just as well as anywhere else, and it will have all of the same cachet. I loved it anyway. So I thought it was an interesting idea, and I'm glad they did it.
I would damage this watch immediately because as soon as I put it on, my knuckles would be dragging from that arm. My AD got one of these in, of course, display model. I was like, hey, can I play with it? He's like, oh yeah, absolutely. You can pick it up, try it on. It is such a brick, dude. Like I thought I would like to have it next to the Platinum Daytona. I imagine the Platinum is probably still heavier. But this one is wider. This was like 43, 44 mils or something like that. I can't relate. I mean, if I was a football player, if I actually went to the gym, maybe I could pull that off. But when I had a desk job in the office, I was taking my regular Omega Speedmaster off because I didn't like to type with it. So I can't imagine it. But this goes back to you absolutely loving the bling bling.
Yep, and Rolex.
This is Ricardo's bling bling scramble watch.
Rolex is the king. I mean, we got to be honest.
King of marketing.
And the king of desire.
That's marketing. Thank you. I appreciate you validating my position. Kind of an odd one. In as much as, okay, so this is the Christopher Ward C1 moon phase in 37 millimeter. So they just released this in the last month. And it maybe it shouldn't be in this list. I don't know, because the first one they released, which is 40.5, came out last year or a year and a half ago. And I actually own that watch. The reason this watch is on the list is that I bought that watch sight unseen because it's such a beautiful large scale moon phase watch. I'm actually a little off put and angry that this watch exists because this is the size it should have been last year.
Oh. What size is that one?
It's 40.5 millimeters, which is going to be a chasm. I'm actually on their list to get one of these in for review, and I'm going to put it side by side. But I can almost guarantee you mine is getting sold immediately, and I'll just rebuy this one because it's going to fit me so much better. The other one, I got it around here somewhere, but it is just a touch too large, and it's in that Lachute Original space of 40 millimeter dress watch, but it's kind of a little bit thick too. And so I think this one is going to wear like a dream for me. And so if anyone is in the market for a larger moon phase from Christopher Ward, it is gorgeous. It is very much unworn. Do write me in the comments and we'll get you sorted out with the friend price. I just want to trade. That's all I want. Thoughts, musings, unmusings?
It's a watch lover's watch. This is a crime of passion, shall we say, as opposed to cold calculation. If it makes you happy, great. I mean,
you're really dropping the phrases today, my man. I'm glad you're bringing the mojo.
Good. Thank you for saying that. On the other hand, it's a little. Someone will look at it, and only really interested watch people are going to even know what it is. I didn't know what it is at first.
Well, it is.
And why it matters.
It's so beautiful. The aventurine dial. And I am a big fan of Arnold & Son. And Arnold & Son has a similar form factor, larger like the previous. Actually, it's quite a bit larger. I think it might be 42-ish. But a huge moon going across. And they do have a steel model that on the pre-owned market cruises 7-9 Gs. Whereas their precious metal, it's rocking 20 plus Gs. But it's beautiful because it is one of the largest moon complications. Now, on the very low end, we've got some models that have a large moon, but the quality is not there. This has got the Christopher Ward quality, absolutely epically beautiful. To be fair, it can be a little bit difficult to read in bright daylight. It's one of those watches that you would clearly wear at night, date night, and if you want to see the time, there's certain watches you got to bend just a little bit to catch ambient light and just like flares up. I actually like that. I mean, if I wanted absolute visibility in a watch at night, I'll get me a G-Shock or I'll carry around like a little flashlight with me. But yeah, let's see. Even Trap agrees. Let me post this. Yeah, it is amazingly good. I'm going to dig mine out because I know it's sitting behind me while we talk, while we move on to your next watch, big man.
Okay.
Oh,
all right, here it is, the
on
King.
second thought, unacceptable. I'm going to put myself on
watch
mute.
ever made, right here.
I can't control myself. I'm putting myself on mute. Go ahead.
It's the Tudor Black Bay 58 18 karat gold model, on sale for the low price of just $32,100. It's a why do I like it? It's a watch that doesn't need to exist. Who wants a very high end Tudor like this? Well, the fact that it didn't really need to exist is kind of a cool reason for it to exist. I'm not a Cybertruck guy, but it's kind of in that space, in that why does this exist? I don't know. It doesn't need to, but once it existed, I like it. The fact that they did the green dial, the green bezel, I thought made it work. And the fact that you're showing it off with the backdrop of the fashion show from Alexander McQueen is hilarious. But I thought, yeah. So anyway, I don't own a Tudor. I think that you do. Do you have a Tudor or more than one?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have one yet, but like. Imagining myself with unlimited budget, I'm going to get a Tudor. This would be the one that I'm getting. What is it, 100 pieces or something like that?
I don't know, but dang, I've got so much to say. I'm going to go back on mute out of courtesy.
Go right ahead.
Well, the implication is you would keep talking, but okay, if you're done, I'm happy to dive in.
I'm done. Go right ahead.
My goodness gracious. First of all, this is the thumbnail from our last episode where we talked about it. I didn't watch that before this, but I'm fairly certain you agreed with me that this watch is a no. I think you did it just to gaslight me. This watch is 32 G's, and I don't remember if it's converting from, I don't know if that's pounds or if that's euros or whatnot. Is it bad looking? No. It's not a bad looking watch, especially in, green colorway. Green and gold can be done. We've seen it with, Big Brother Rolex. But who is the customer for this watch? Beckham, but we make him pay instead of give him a free one based on his being an ambassador. Who is going to march into a store with 30 grand looking to go precious metal and is going to pick this one versus you can get a pre-owned sub all gold bluesy for 35 to 38. Other options in gold, Longa. I just don't understand the marketing. What I would like to think in my little watch heart, in my heart of hearts, is that this watch was meant for the Only Watch auction. And then when Only Watch went sideways hard because of potential spending malfeasance, it's since been reconciled. I don't know what they did to reconcile that. I think maybe they opened the books and maybe there wasn't any malfeasance. But the reality is the show got delayed. It's usually in the fall. It got pushed out to the following spring or some nonsense. I want to believe that Tudor came up with this as an only watch. Like they were only going to make one. It was going to go into that auction. Someone was going to spend the 35 grand or more for it. They'd have a wacky all gold Black Bay, and then Will contributed to this charity. And then we could give it the princess wave and never have to see it again, except if I run into that business person, man or woman, on the street somewhere. Hey, let me see your only watch, the one you overspent for. But Trap. Trap lives out in Indiana. That's why we run into him at Moyer Fine Jewelers. Wouldn't that be funny, Trap? Just, hey, I want to see Don. I want to see Dan and Bill and Derek. I got 30 grand to spend today. It'd be so funny to roll heavy through there, dude. I love those guys. I love those guys at Moyer. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know what? I'm going to put it back on you. If you had 50 G's, actually 40 G's, we'll make it a little more narrow for you. Because with tax, figure tax 10%, 38 grand, and then spend the rest of the 2 grand out to dinner, get a nice bottle of wine and a steak. Would you buy it? Now, let's assume you couldn't reposition the funds for something in your life. Some really weird guy comes up to you at the airport and says, "Hey, I'm a millionaire and I like to test people. I'm gonna give you 40 grand to buy a watch. What are you gonna go buy? What would you do?" Let's assume he's not wearing a trench coat.
If they would sell this one to me, yeah, sure, I'd buy this one. Absolutely.
Oh, trust me, they'll sell it to you. Go on.
Well, it's a limited edition. There are not that many pieces, so I don't know.
It's not officially limited, near as I can tell. But you're absolutely correct. It is probably just sheerly limited by, hey, how many of these things are we going to make? Oh, let's just make 5 and see what happens.
Well, it's appealing precisely for the reason that you don't like it, in that it doesn't need to exist. It's ridiculous. It's over the top. It's a solid gold Tudor. Why even bother? But yet, because of those things, it's unique. It's like what our old friend Paul Thorpe would say, find me another one. Yeah. I can go out and buy a bluesy, and 8 million people have bluesies as well.
That's not true. Not all gold bluesies.
Roger Ailes had a bluesy. Well, I don't know if it was all gold.
Is that your buddy from college? Who's Roger? I don't know that name. I don't know
Roger Ailes, the Fox News guy. He wore a bluesy. Yeah.
Oh, all gold, or was it a two-tone?
No, I think it was two-tone, actually.
All right.
I don't know that I've ever seen an all gold bluesy, honestly.
They're amazing. It looks like this, only you can actually wear it.
Okay. Well,
interesting.
I think it was so out of left field, and because it didn't need to exist, and because it's a unique item, yeah, I like it for that reason.
I think that you're lying. For the sake of the live feed, I'm going to put my boy on blast. I don't think you would. I think that you would get something. You know what? I haven't tempted you in this ridiculous story context with what else you could get, but okay. There's a all gold bluesy versus this. Which would you get?
I think it's going to be limited just by the fact that nobody's going to buy it. So
no, hypothetical. You're in the store. This and the bluesy are sitting next to it. One is new, one is pre-owned. What would you buy?
I don't know. I'd have to be there. I can't say. But anyway, it was
not answering tells me your answer. Thank you. All right, moving on. Is this the last one?
That's my number one. No, this is your number one.
We are on the last one, and I did show it earlier. This is the Tudor FXD LHD MOD by D and Friends. This is my watch that I had custom modified, and I did a video about it, detailing it. It is the simplest, most amazingly easy watch mod ever. All you have to do is have your watchmaker open the back, drop the movement, take the dial out, rotate it 180 degrees, put Humpty Dumpty back together again, and boom, you've got a left-hand drive watch that the only other people in the world who have it are the Marine Nationale French divers, who can order it from Tudor, and the 2 other dudes on Instagram who looked at my video, decided to go and do it themselves, and are probably not going to acknowledge the fact that I did it first. Now, to be fair, because you have to be fair, I learned about the left-hand drive on Adrian Barker's video when the FXD first broke. He did some news coverage showing a picture of the actual Tudor left-hand drive next to the right-hand drive. And so that stuck in my coconut, and that was Tudor doing it. And that's what I credit with giving me the idea to try it myself. But I was the one who actually put my money out there to do it, to test it, share it with the world. And I'm very glad that people were doing it. Just give a bro a shout out. Like, oh, shout out to Hobby of Hours, where I got this idea from. Then I'd be happy as a pig and poop. But be that as it may, it is on the NDC strap from ndcstraps.com. Shout out to Jacko. Also, shout out to Scott at watchistry.com. If you look closely, this is the collab strap that they did together. It's got the Marine Nationale logo on the black clasp, and it absolutely lives on it. This watch has claimed this strap as its own. Epically adjustable, eminently awesome, proper dive watch on a proper dive strap. Love it to pieces. And I'm really glad you didn't save your veto, because I'd be heartbroken if you vetoed this one, brother. What are your thoughts on it?
I wouldn't want to veto this one. I think this is this is kind of a labor of love, and I like right hand driving things, and I like modifying things where you can. So I wouldn't want to veto this one, and it makes you happy, and
Yeah.
so do it, make yourself happy. What's not to like about it? I think it's fine. I would wear it. I would wear this one.
It's an amazing piece to begin with, but having something that's a little bit unique, a little bit different, and I absolutely wanted to share it with the watch community at large in the hopes that people would do it. You know, maybe a little hashtag hobby of ours whenever they post, but say, Libby, what are you going to do? I adore it, love it to pieces. Well, that has been the first live stream. Look at us go, 1 hour and 10 minutes. Reminder, if you need post-Christmas holiday gifts, head over to hobbyofhours.com. We have got books, we've got shirts, we've got artwork, we've got hats, cups, and all sorts of Goonie stuff to support the channel should you want to do so. What we love to do at the end of any episode where we have a guest is for me to shut up, to shut my pie hole, and let our distinguished guest have the last word. Let me put you on highlight mode, brother. First of all, I want to say thanks for coming along on the ride, Ricardo. Appreciate you. I want to say thanks to everyone in the stream chat for coming along. I legit didn't think anyone would come along. We were just kind of testing out this system as a new way of recording remote interviews, which was a good bit of fun. And we got some comments from our friends down there. Thank you, Noctua. And that I almost said Hawktua. Nope, Noctua. Had a good bit of fun doing this. Happy holidays indeed to everyone. But also want to give the microphone over to you, Ricardo. What are your passing thoughts, my good man?
I don't have a whole lot to say except that this was a great idea, and it was wonderful that a few people came along. We weren't expecting guests, and
yeah, I know, it's really sweet.
It's really good that some people came along, and it's good that this is a holiday show, you know, because it's just us talking about what makes us happy, and that's really what the watch collecting is all about, you know.
Sharing the hobby.
If it's a business for you, you've got to. You know, as we've mentioned, some of the watch channels where they're also selling watches are motivated to hype things that maybe you don't deserve as much hype because they're trying to sell them. And that's not what we're doing here. We're discussing what makes us happy.
I occasionally have watches for sale. You're right, but it is not a dealer environment. I don't, you know, disparage them for doing so as long as there's transparency, right? Like if you're in a position to share knowledge or whatever, that's awesome. Just tell people what you're up to and you'll be just fine. You won't get beat up or anything. But anywho, major thanks, my friend, for coming along. And thank you to everyone on the show. Hope you enjoyed it. There were so many other channels doing their best and worst of 2024. I was like, maybe I should put my hat in the ring. And I had to slide in a few curveballs as well. So final comment from our good buddy Trap. Happy holidays, everyone. Many blessings to everyone indeed, and we will catch you in the next one. Signing off. All right, take care, brother. We'll be in touch.
Yes, sir.
Adios, amigos. Peace.